This guy sent a death threat to a vegan activist, so I found out who he is, and I tried to answer the biggest question: why? Summer Jane is a vegan activist who recently made some posts about the New Zealand dairy industry on Facebook. She's just a regular person who speaks up for animals. But yesterday, she got this message: you deserve nothing less than a bullet to the head in a public place. Imagine getting this message in your inbox just for speaking up for animals. That's not just a random public comment meant as a sick joke. It's a direct private DM directly to Summer. That's a death threat. But the story doesn't end here. This guy has a unique name. His name is Siege Kid. At first, I thought that might be fake, but it's real. His Facebook and Instagram are private, but I found him tagged in a Christmas photo. And it's sunny because he lives in New Zealand, where Summer, our activist, also lives, making this threat even more concerning. But we're not done yet. Digging deeper, I found Siege Kid active on lots of farming pages on Facebook, so it seems our little criminal is connected to animal farming in one way or another. Something else I discovered about him was really shocking, and it left me asking a big question about his nasty message, but more on that later. Now you might think, oh, of course he's threatening her. She's harming his business. Or some vegans might say, well, he's an animal abusing farmer. Of course he's going to get violent. But here's something you might not know. Many farmers actually feel guilty about what they do to animals. Animal farmers have high rates of depression and suicide, and over 90% of young farmers say mental health issues are the biggest danger for farmers. Listen to what some of these farmers have to say. A former beef farmer in England talked about when she sent her animals to be killed, saying, "We hated it. It was a sad day. We'd both have a tear. We wouldn't be talking about it. We'd be in our own thoughts. We've got to toughen up. We produce animals for this purpose." Imagine doing that for years. Would mess with your mind. Harold Brown, a fifth-generation cattle rancher from Michigan, said as a child he learned to suppress his compassion and feelings, and that his mum had told him that it was okay to feel bad about what happened to animals, but she also told him, don't let it show, you have to keep it inside. Parents telling their kids to bottle up and hide their emotions so they can keep killing animals. It's horrible. Harold Brown said he coped with his early experiences of killing animals by telling himself repeatedly, I don't care, until he didn't feel any emotions. And then years later, he visited an animal sanctuary and said he suffered with deep feelings of guilt about what he'd done to those animals. I actually can't imagine the emotional damage from all this guilt and denial. Researchers actually call these feelings death by 1,000 cuts. This is when animal farmers are conflicted about betraying their animals on a daily basis, and it builds up and causes serious emotional and psychological harm because they're doing things to animals that they're actually against. As in, they're against this animal cruelty, they're against this abuse, but they feel like they need to do it for their income. And that made me wonder, is this what's going on in Siege Kid's head too? A new study looking into all this showed that most farmers find it hard to send animals to slaughter. Just under half of them said it's a horrible day, and others said they get really upset and have to fight with their conscience, with some of them saying they feel like they betrayed the animals. I feel terribly guilty, tearful, and hate myself for doing that to them. Sending them to slaughter causes suicidal feelings and despair. I know the local abattoirs near me are terrible. It's mostly the hardest thing I have to do. And here's something that I found really surprising. Most farmers think other farmers don't feel the same as them. They think they're the only ones suffering from what they're doing to animals, when in reality, most of them are suffering from it. Actually, 48% of farmers said they feel like they can't talk about what they do with friends and family, and 63% of them said they'd actually start moving away from animal farming if there was another option that could give them an equal or higher income. So animal farmers are clearly in a deeply conflicted place. Is that why our friend Siege sent that death threat? Because he's suffering with mental health issues from what he does to animals? Or is he just a nasty scumbag? Well, let me tell you the surprising thing I found out about this guy. Not only is Siege Kid either a farmer or involved in farming, as we already established, he's the grandson of a particularly well-known local dairy farmer who passed away in an accident on his farm last year. And this guy seemed to be a bit of a local hero, at least it felt that way from this article I read about him, which said, with an inherently giving nature, he joined and worked within organizations that reflected the interests of the communities to which he and his family belonged. He looked for the good in things. He considered every day a positive day. Would Siege's granddad approve of him sending death threats? Either way, this needs to change. If farmers feel guilty, hate what they do, and want a way out, why keep paying them to do these horrible things to animals? Why are we still breeding and mutilating innocent animals for things we don't even need?